Hey guys, this is EckhartsLadder. Hello and welcome to another video. Today I am very lucky to have the day off thanks to my good friend Corey Loses. Corey was kind enough to provide a video for the channel all about a CIS fleet used during the Clone Wars that you guys have probably never heard of. For those of you who don't know, Corey contributes over at X2, which is the second channel that I also work on. He's got a great gaming channel, he created the Empire at War Expanded mods, including Thrawn's Revenge, and he's got, in my opinion, the most in-depth Star Wars Legends lore channel on YouTube, Corey's Datapad, which I'll link to up above. If you guys like this video, you should definitely go subscribe to Corey's Datapad. He makes really great content. It's very different than what I make, although we do have some crossover. So yeah, as always, links down in the description, but let's roll the video.
For a lot of the Clone Wars, the Separatist strongholds tended to be in the Outer Rim, but there was one major shipyard in the core that always posed a threat to Coruscant and the other core worlds. Today we're going to talk about breaking the Siege of Phoros and how that almost turned the tide of the Clone Wars in the Separatist favor. The shipyards of Phoros were some of the oldest in the Republic. They had been used during the Great Sith War and then later had been bought up by the Techno-Union. Their proximity to Coruscant in ancient wars made them a great staging area both for offense and defense, but in the Clone Wars this proximity to Coruscant posed more of a threat than anything. Being relatively isolated among other powerful Republic worlds, this initially didn't seem like a huge problem to Republic strategists. They simply blockaded Phoros, and this lasted 2 years relatively successfully. There wasn't much chance of getting aid into Phoros, and there wasn't much chance of the Phoros shipyards being able to break out and help the other parts of the Separatist forces. Unfortunately, the Republic had forgotten one major point about shipyards: they can sometimes produce ships. Because the Republic had never bothered to mount an offensive against the world itself, the engineers of the Techno-Union on Phoros began designing a new type of battleship to take on the blockading Republic fleet. This took 2 full years to finish, although when they finally came to light, the result was one of the best ships in the CIS Navy, the Bulwark Cruiser. The initial bulwarks were a kilometer long and they were armed pretty heavily but also defended with a lot of armor. The ships were able to ram smaller ships without suffering any damage themselves. Part of their armament was heavy turbo lasers and ion cannons, which in the Clone Wars period was relatively rare. Even larger capital ships tended to be more oriented towards anti-fighter weaponry and maybe a couple heavy weapons. Ion cannons in particular were quite rare during the Clone Wars on these heavier ships. This fleet of new CIS weapons was led by an old Celestian named Duoningo, who proved himself to be a capable commander in the battle to escape Phoros, as well as in subsequent battles throughout the core worlds, where the Bulwark fleet was able to run rampant through Republic core worlds, what was known as Sector Zero. In order to respond to this threat, the Republic launched what would become one of the most common warships throughout the Imperial and post-Imperial period, the Victory-class Star Destroyer. This launch was somewhat premature, but it was seen as necessary to stop Duoningo's forces. The Republic response was led by 2 task force commanders, being Jan Dodonna, future Rebel commander, and Terranald Screed, future Imperial commander. The two became close friends during their service under the Republic, although their career paths did diverge significantly, with Dodonna becoming one of the most decorated Rebel commanders, and Screed becoming one of the most notorious Imperial commanders. The opposing forces fought various battles at planets like Ixtlar, Alsakan, and Basilisk, but the final showdown came at the planet of Anaxis. The initial battle was just between Dodonna's task force and Duoningo's forces, and Dodonna was getting heavily beaten until finally Terranald Screed's forces came out of hyperspace, and Screed's ship blew up unrepentant, Duoningo's flagship, at close range. Victory Star Destroyers, especially the first generation, were heavily reliant on physical munitions, specifically concussion missiles. The blast from the explosion of all these missiles, along with the Unrepentant itself, resulted in significant damage on Screed's flagship as well. Screed was nearly killed in this aftermath, although he did survive and received one of the highest honors that Anaxis could bestow, the Hold Cross. Still recovering from his injuries during the battle, he required the physical support of Jan Dodonna to make it across the Ozir Walk and receive this honor, prompting him to note that, quote, "I have leaned on Jan in far more dangerous instances than these." That's going to do it for today's video. Hope you guys have enjoyed, and hope to see you next time. Bye everyone.